there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, along with Kathy and Lorraine for Ask a Crafter. We are still answering some questions in our big old brandy snifter, so make sure you leave your comments and questions, and they'll go in here to be answered, hopefully, in this decade. Oh my goodness. Alright, so we're going to kick it off, Lorraine.
Okay.
First question of the day. Very exciting. This is not a good start.
Andreges de Sante. I'm an absolute beginner. What kind of material should I invest in? There are so many to choose from. Oh. Well, that kind of is like...
That's a very loaded question.
Yeah,
so,
we don't know what you're working on.
Yeah, I did leave a reply to that, and I asked what kind of crafts they're interested in, but I didn't get a reply back, so I don't really know how to answer that. For general crafting, what should you get to begin? That's really tricky. That's a hard question.
It is, yeah. You'd have to know a little bit more about what the interests are.
Yeah, whether it's beading or painting,
sewing,
or
beading,
sewing,
painting. There's
knitting.
some supplies obviously cross over, but there's no general.
I think I'd recommend going into the craft store and look for maybe a beginner kit, like a learn to crochet kit, or a learn to like a little kit that has instructions and all the supplies you need to do that particular craft, and see if it's up your alley. If you don't like it, try something else next time. That you're not gonna have a lot of leftovers. You're not gonna invest in stuff you're not gonna use. Make sure you buy one kit at a time, finish it up, and then say, well, do I want to do more of this, or would I rather try something else? That way you don't end up with a ton of stuff you're not going to use.
See if you can do it.
I do okay. I can't read the blue. V. Molick. I am so glad you're back. I'd like to start my own paint teaching classes as a business. The kind where someone comes to a class and I provide everything needed to go home with a finished painting. Do you have any pointers or such for such an endeavor? Pricing for the class, inventory, selling some product if there is a calling for it. I've been asked to teach at a local art store. I'm used to teaching a small intimate group, but not sure of and we don't. But potentially a larger group, I'm assuming she might.
There you go. You're getting good at winging it.
Well, I actually did a whole video on teaching classes, so you can refer to that. If you go to my art marketing playlist, you'll see the that video there. But I think I would recommend doing something like a sip and paint, which is people can hire you to come to their house and provide everything you want. Usually it's about $30 or $40 a person. Each guest pays. And so Painting with Pinot is actually a franchise you can look into if you want to have a little more support than just winging it from yourself, like winging it like we do. But basically, like if you were doing like a sip and paint, your host would get all their friends together. They would tell you how many people were coming so you could plan for it. They would buy any wine or anything like that would be served during the party, and you would bring all the supplies, and they would pay you like $40 a person for the class and the supplies that they used and whatnot. So you know, your brushes, you would obviously, they would go home with their canvases all painted. You would come in with your paints and brushes. You would take your paints and brushes back home. You know, just squirt it what they needed. But that's a really great way to do it, because you don't have to have the overhead of a studio or class rental fees or anything. You're pretty much just your supplies and profit. So that's a really great way to get started. But definitely go ahead and teach at that craft store. You may not make as much per student, but it'll give you some contacts, and it'll get you. You'll be able to tell whether you really like it or not. So yeah,
sure. Mrs. Seth, is there a craft that you resisted trying out because maybe you thought it wasn't something you would enjoy, but it turned out you did enjoy it very much?
Well, yeah. Actually, I didn't think I would really like knitting and crocheting that much, but I needed something. I was pregnant with my first kid, and I was just on the go, and I just couldn't settle down. And my doctor said, "You need to sit down. You need to stay off your feet for the weekend." And I think it's because he didn't want to be called in to deliver a baby on the weekend. So so I actually took up crochet, and I really enjoyed it. I love it because it is my relaxing. If I'm feeling anxious or just, you know, kind of stressed or wound up, I can sit down and crochet and put on the Netflix and just chill. And I have a hard time just sitting down and doing nothing. I have a hard time settling down to read. With crocheting, I can crochet and I can listen to music or an audiobook or watch TV and just completely zone. So yeah, that would be mine. You guys? What about you guys? Resist any crafts?
No, I pretty much jump into a lot of stuff that I just
yeah.
I'm in too deep then.
I don't know that I've ever resisted anyone. There might be some that I never felt like, that I would really be any good at. So I would probably say like the watercolor and doing that class with you has been fun. When I actually make it to class.
You go to the library one?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
It was a blast.
I
I've missed more than I've made it to,
Really?
thanks to
I
husband
see
and
that, but
children.
I don't think, well, there's another one. I don't think I can do it.
Oh, you most certainly can.
Yeah.
She makes it so easy
What
and
about
it's
those
so
finger
fun.
paintings? Are you doing those yet?
Finger paintings?
Finger paintings. Yeah, you do a beautiful thing. I've seen them on, yeah. I'm going to have to show you that.
I think I need a little more to go on, right?
Finger painting. Sounds like maybe it's doable.
Bonnie Winters says, "Yay, Ask a Crafter is back. You always have a lot of great information to share. My question is, I have a lot of old Tri-Chem fabric paint tubes that I found
those
when
are
cleaning out
old.
my mother-in-law's house after she went into a nursing home. The ball points on the tubes don't work well anymore, but the paints were barely used and still seem to be good when I take the tops off and squeeze out a little bit of paint. Have you ever used this kind of fabric paint? And do you have any ideas on how I can incorporate it into my papercraft projects?"
It's an oil-based fabric paint. My mother used to use it to do like dish towels,
Oh,
the
yeah,
little
that
those
was
little
good.
patterns you color it
Very
in.
retro.
Do you know if it had like a do you think you'd use it on paper, or do you think it would the oil would kind of bleed
I don't
out?
think you could.
I think I would stick to using it for, because the whole point of it, the thing that was so great is you could draw on it like a pen.
Right.
It was like a pen with a pen tip, ballpoint tip, like a gel pen kind of, but bigger. And the body, there was like almost like hooked to an oil paint tube kind of is how it looked.
wow.
But if that's dried up, you could try cutting it open and using the paints. I bet they're kind of separated in there. I don't think I would invest too much time in it just because it's an older paint. It may not adhere well. It may separate. By all means, try it. It's mostly suited for fabric. It is washable. But I really haven't used it myself. I know my mother has a big yellow plastic container. Which she had. She probably doesn't anymore, but she used to have, all of her Tri-Chem paints in this little carousel thing.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it.
Well, you're
But I
right,
would
yeah.
think, I mean, if you're not really sure that it will work on paper, certainly you should get some muslin and paint.
Yeah.
Like little images. And
Yeah.
cut them out, fray them, stitch them on your cards.
That's a good
and
idea.
then, use it at least for the cards. But
Oh, yeah, good
still keep
idea.
it on cloth.
Good idea.
Look at her
Tina-
skinny paper over there.
Tina Colfer, the new shaker dies are so dang cute, but pricey. Any tips for shaker cards?
Yeah, I have a couple videos on how to make shaker cards. I use regular die cuts to cut windows, or I'll cut them with a little, shape cutter, or just, stamp something and cut around it with an X-Acto knife. And I use that as the frame, window frame, and I use foam tape for
Oh,
the...
that's what she's talking about?
Yeah.
They
think
have
so.
special ones, and now they just call them shaker dies, and so
Oh, yeah. So they can charge
they
more.
can put
and-
more money.
Yeah, it's just the same thing, especially any nested shapes that you have, because
Oh,
you
yeah.
could cut two together on a piece of fun foam and, make yourself a little shaker window, make yourself a little spacer for your shaker stuff. I have a couple videos. Go to my channel, type shaker cards, and you'll find some ideas.
Okay, Little Mal 123. It's been a long summer without Ask a Crafter. I have a question about dies, the ones made for like Sizzix, etc. Is there a way to use them if you don't have a die cutter machine? I simply can't afford one. Perhaps a homemade contraption that might work?
Okay, well, I have to say, I tested this out. I think dyes are expensive, so if it's an issue of money, I wouldn't even go down the road of dyes.
Yeah.
I tried using a bench vise to cut with my dies. It didn't work. You really need a die cut machine, and that's going to start at about $50 or $60 if you're using a coupon. But dies are expensive, and you're always going to want more. So I think I would just get good with an X-Acto knife, because you're going to do a lot. You can do a lot more with a pair of scissors and an X-Acto knife. I wouldn't go down the road of getting dies, because they're only going to be more expensive. You're going to add more, and there's limited amounts of things you can do with them. And I have not found a
And then
way
you have to store them.
Then you have to store them. And I have not found a way to cut with a die without a die cut machine. I tried my bench vise after you left that comment. Even with my smallest die, I couldn't get it to cut. and I think you'd be more likely to injure yourself or damage the dye trying some homemade concoction. Like I've heard people say you could back over it with your car.
Oh.
I wouldn't.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would just get it.
Tires are expensive.
Yeah. I would get real good with a pair of scissors and an X-Acto knife. There's amazing things you can do with that.
Okay. Prudy Padnode says, I keep hearing about refilling the Copic markers or the water-based ones, but not sure how to do this. What do you use to do this, and is it easy? I enjoy your show and keep a journal to write down the ideas. So that's nice.
Yeah. I have videos on refilling both types of markers. If you go to my blog or my channel and just type in how to refill markers, you should come right up with it. But for Copics, they actually have a syringe that you can like suck the ink up out of the it's called various ink that you buy, and then you can squirt it right into the Copic marker without even removing a nib. The syringe needle slides between the chisel nib right in through that little hole right down to the little pad in the middle that holds all the ink. And I think it's like $6 or something. I would get the syringe, save you the mess and save wasted ink. But I know there are some stores online that you can mail your Copics to, and they'll fill them for you for like $1 a piece, and they'll mail them back to you.
Really?
So if you, because I mean, it can get expensive if you have to buy a bottle of ink for every marker you have. That's a good option for you, I think. You know,
That is.
yeah, why not? Because I mean, who has a bottle of ink for every marker they have? And if you're gonna shell out Copic money, then you might as well make sure you're refilling it with the exact color that you need.
Right.
So, if anybody knows a reputable store that does that, if you could leave a link in the comments below. I haven't sent mine out. None of my Copics have run dry. So, if you're a store or you know of a store that does that, please leave a comment so somebody can know where to go. Especially if you've used that service before and you know they're reputable. Because sending off your markers is kind of scary. Because those suckers are expensive.
Yes.
Okay, Eview. Lindsay, I forgot to ask if there is a book that you can recommend to help me with my shading and shadows along with your tips. Again, as always, thanks so very much to all of you.
Yes, I would recommend the book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. I'm trying to remember I don't know who wrote it, but just search Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It's a very popular book. It's probably the best book for adults to learn how to draw and shade, and it's available everywhere.
Oh, that's a good question. I have this one.
We don't like any of those other ones. This is a good one, though.
This one pertains to me. It's all about me. Grandma Jeannie says, welcome back, ladies. You look like you were having fun. Do you know a way to re-ink the color box cat size inks? Mine have dried and I just hate to throw them away if they can be saved. Thank you. Aideen. Aideen. A-I-D-E-E-N?
Aideen?
Aideen?
I'd say Aideen.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great clue. Do you know the answer to it? Or
No,
you
I don't want to throw them away, though.
Well, I'll tell you what I do. I take gouache, which is an opaque watercolor. I mix it with a couple drops of glycerin. I'll actually put a little squirt of gouache right on the ink pad, put a couple drops of glycerin, take an old spoon and just stir it around on there, and it's good as new. And so you can mix your own color, get exactly what you want. But if that makes you nervous, then you can buy re-inkers for the color box cat's eye pads.
Oh.
They're a couple dollars each. You'll have to order them online because most stores don't stock them because they're such a specialty item.
Yeah.
Most people will just toss them and buy a new ink pad, but you can make your own gouache, mix your custom colors, or use them right from the tube if it's close enough, and a couple drops of glycerin.
Jazz Lucy. Hi guys and welcome back. I have been thinking about how to make a chart on what types of pens, pencils, paints work best on which surfaces. I am a circular thinker, so straight line charts are hard for me to build, and not being able to do art daily, I forget which goes on top of what, which sealer for what, etc. Then go looking through the books and videos. Any suggestions, or maybe a video on making a chart?
I think what would probably benefit you, because your supplies are going to be different than my supplies and your supplies and your supplies. Right. When you're sitting down and you're working on a project, I would grab like a big manila tag, or maybe have a separate art journal just for this and call it your supply journal. And then when you're working with, say, Inktense pencils, maybe write on the top of a page Inktense pencils or on a tag, and experiment on the tag. And then write on the page or on the back what you did to get those results. And then with tags, you could put them all together with like a big binder ring. Like, we got a binder ring on here. Show you what I mean. sure you know what a binder ring is. Oh, there goes my name. But like put it all in like a ring like that, and then when you're ready to work again, you can take your binder ring and say, what was that effect I wanted to do? Flip through all your tags, and there you have it. Or if it's through a little sketchbook or a journal, flip through that, find the technique you want and the supply that you want to work with, and then you'll have that back as a reference, because that's going to help you remember much better than looking at anybody else's chart or research that they've done. So so you got to make your own, because it's going to be your supplies and be the most useful to you.
Don't think you're going to remember, because you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working every day with media, and still sometimes, like if I haven't used something in a while, like, what? You know, I don't remember that. So that would be my advice.
That's good. Rebecca Ebel, I have been watching videos on wood burning. Do you have any tips? I want to make a family name sign. Have you done any wood burning?
I really haven't done much for wood burning. I have the Creative Hot Marks, and it's like a wood burner, but it's meant to like use on paper and stuff. It's just kind of, I would just say go slow. Put a drawing down first, or transfer a drawing down first, so you don't mess up, because once you've burnt it, you got to sand it off. And yeah, the big thing is to go slow. You got to make sure that the burner is getting hot enough to singe the wood, because if you go too fast, it's not going to burn the wood. So
I've got a little kit I had to have for Christmas about 4 years ago. It's still in the package. I wanted to do it, but I haven't.
You know, I want to do it on a gourd. I've got some dried gooseneck gourds and birdhouse gourds. I want to do some, and then maybe like stain it with alcohol ink. I think I'd like do like a cool maybe like a hen, like you know how the what is it called, Mendi or Mehendi or those designs, and like do like some design like that, and then stain it with alcohol ink. I think it would be so pretty.
It would be. And if she's not going to say it, I will say it. Don't burn your hands off.
Don't burn your hands off. That's right. Oh my gosh, good catch.
Pretty Blimp, I have a serious question. Oh, I guess I better put my glasses.
Oh, better. Serious. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking blurred. When is the box set of Series 1 and 2 of Ask a Crafter?
I didn't see that question before.
Oh my god, that's great.
Do you think we can make any money on that? We can fund our next trip to the stamp show.
Right.
Congrats, Kathy, on the impending arrival of the twins. I miss you both, Kathy and Lorraine. And what the heck is a crop?
I love that.
Gotta tell you, Lindsay, I got myself the set of 72 watercolor pencils for Derwent. They are lovely. I am glad I got them. I am set now, ready to paint the town. Looking forward to the new series. I'm sending best wishes to all three of you. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Box set.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be a serious question. Here we are.
Wait, she did have a question, didn't she?
Yes.
What was the
question?
question?
What is a crop?
Oh, a crop, yes.
It can be nothing. It can be something.
A crop,
but it's fun.
It's a gathering of people, usually women, that will get together to usually scrapbook, but it could be any sort of paper crafting.
Yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah, it's like
it was scrapbooking.
Yeah, it's like a sewing circle, kind of. It's just, it's a very community, you know, you get together with friends and you create scrapbook pages. You may never have met these people before, or they may be friends you meet frequently to crop with.
It can be just an afternoon. I've been to week-long ones.
Wow, week-long ones.
Week-long ones?
Oh, wow.
I love that. Weekends.
Yeah.
Usually there's, especially if you know people, there's sharing of tools and...
Yep.
And, you know, oh, I don't need these stickers anymore. You want these? And
Yes.
Passing things on, a lot of gabbing, a lot of eating chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think crop, the name comes from cropping photos. You know, I think that's why.
Oh,
The scrapbook group is called a crop.
Right.
That you could have knitting groups, you could have anything, but it's a general gathering of creative people that are creating stuff.
Great.
Yep. It's usually not my most productive creating.
No, it really isn't. But it's fun and it's important.
Yes. Take time to crop.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, if you're looking for them, look in the newspaper. Call any local like libraries or churches. If they might, those are usually where you'll find them. Scrapbooking stores, if you're lucky enough to have any, that's another good place where you could find a crop.
Have we got time?
I have no idea. We have time for one more question if we keep it quick. Do we have a quick question?
Lady Trace says, I like making my own glimmer mists and spray inks. It's so much more affordable, but have noticed there seems to be two main methods: color pigments, eyeshadow paint, alcohol binding, or color pigments.
Okay, I do liquid watercolors. I like Dick Blick liquid watercolors. For shimmer, I'd get the Pearl liquid watercolor and put them in a spray bottle with water. I think the alcohol is unnecessary, and who wants to breathe that junk? So that would be my my recommendation. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave your questions below, and we will try to answer them next time on Ask a Crafter. Happy crafting.
Happy crafting.